Two prospects each that we are stoked about. Doug, I'm going to let you lead off. He's going to take a couple of pitchers, and I'm going to take a couple position players. But go ahead, Mr. Douglas Mack.
So this one is not tough to guess. I mean, of course, Bobby Miller, the Dodgers' top pitching prospect. Robert Miller. I mean, he hasn't been dominant at the minor league level as much as you would expect. He definitely needs to improve on that command. But I'm telling you, at some point next season, it's going to be Miller time. It's going to be Bobby's world. And I think, look, if you look at his stuff, everyone focuses on that heater, that triple-digit fastball, averaged 98 miles per hour on his heater last season. But he has an impressive arsenal of pitches. He's got a great mix. And if you look at his off-speed stuff, he's missing bats with it last season. The slider, he uses the curveball, even throws that changeup. And he can just really throw that pill. And I think that he's a guy where, remember last season we were talking about Walker Buehler, and I'm not comparing them directly in that where Walker Buehler is at, a healthy Walker Buehler at this stage of his career versus a rookie Bobby Miller. Yeah. But what do we say? Where's that butane gas, right? Well, Miller has that gas, and I think that if he finds that command, and that's really one of the reasons why he hasn't dominated as much at the minor league level, is that fastball hasn't played up as much as it could because of the command. And I think I've actually heard that they've had him using some of those secondary pitches to develop him for the next level. I really think that he could be unleashed next season and have a big impact.
I don't know. I feel the more I've read about him, and this is all just me talking out of my ass to, I guess, counterpoint you. Thank you. I'm the one at the moment who's a little become less bullish on the man just because of those command issues. I think he'll play up very well out of the bullpen, and I think that eventually will be his role this season. Later in the season, yeah, he's going to start. He's going to start a bunch, but by the time we get into postseason time, you're going to want that 97-plus cheese coming out of the bullpen, because you don't know if Brewstar's going to have a healthy season. You don't know what's going to happen with Vesia. Is Dan Herron's knee going to hold up? Blake Trinan not coming back. Let's be real. I just don't see that happening with any sort of serviceable velocity to get some outs late in the season. And I really hope they don't try to pull that BS again where, like, oh, yeah, he's going to show up in September, and then we're just going to let him dictate our postseason.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong on Bobby Miller, but I'm concerned about, they're calling him a four-pitch pitcher. He's tried to also mix in a sinker fastball, which the velo might not lead to enough soft contact to get away with that. The changeup isn't that good except for the differential between the high velo on the fastball, and if he can't locate the fastball, then his best tool is just not that good. Chances are I could be very wrong because I have not seen it with my eyes, but this is my interpretation of a number of things I've read about this guy from, prospect experts that I trust, and I'm a little less on him, but, remain hopeful. He'll help. He'll help the team either way.
Yeah, and I think it's a good situation.
Maybe even as
for
a trade piece.
I mean, that's interesting because I think that once the cat's out of the bag and people see him, either his value will skyrocket or it'll dip just a bit. But I think when you look at just the pure raw stuff that he possesses and you consider the tutelage of everyone that's within the Dodgers, when you look at the Dodgers pitching coaching, and I think the fact, too, is they're not going to have him. He's not the savior, right? He's not a guy that is expected to come in there and be that frontline A starter. We saw, of course, saw Walker Buehler come up in 2017 and had his cup of coffee. Then in 2018, he had that huge impact, started game 163 and was phenomenal in the World Series that year. So I think when you look at that stuff, and the Dodgers really lacking a guy that really throws that four-seam fastball with that conviction that he throws it with. Of course, we know Dustin May was filthy. His stuff moves more of the military family, but Bobby Miller is a guy that I really truly believe he is. I think what excites me about Bobby Miller is, like you said, him being a four-pitch pitcher. And yes, you're right, the differential on the changeup is really kind of what makes it. But if you look at the curveball, if you look at that slider, and if you look at how they've kind of smoothed out and refined that delivery, it's not as much. It doesn't take as much effort as it did in the past. I think that he is ready for the big stage. Cody and I saw him at the Futures game, and look, the je ne sais quoi, the it factor, the show chain game of Bobby Miller, the way he rocked his cap, he's gonna be. There's something about the guy. Tell me about his star power.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see it in all of them. Even Miguel Vargas when he was there, and then I believe Diego Cartaya. All three of them. You can tell. Like to me, and it might be a bit of a bias, but to me, and I think you would agree, those three looked the most swagged out for sure. The way they were wearing their hats, the way they had
Big
their
league
chains.
swag, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, earlier in the season we called him Bobby Big Time, and like we want to see it. We definitely want to see it, and we saw a glimpse of Miguel Vargas, and then hopefully we see Diego Cartaya, or maybe they all get traded. Who knows? We never know.
No,
But-
for sure. Yeah, I definitely think.
That's what I love about these shows. Because you can say, who knows? And then you're good. You can say whatever the hell you want,
Little
Maybe I
qualifier.
could end up on Mars this year. I don't know. Who
Yeah.
knows? We'll find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
A good question here to kind of break it up, break up the positives, because we got Miller time, we got Bobby in there. But Nando390, our friend, asking, is Ryan Pepiot a bust? What are your thoughts
absolutely
on
not.
Pepper? It's Pepper time. Peanut butter
Absolutely
pepper
not.
time.
It's way too premature. First of all, when you talk about a pitcher that throws that changeup like he does, it's going to take them longer to really acclimate at the big league level. For him, it's just being able to establish that third pitch, be able to pitch on the inner half to righties, and just improve that overall command. Look, if you look at most scouting reports for young pitchers, command is always an issue, and that's really what prevents guys from taking that next step. And you see the raw stuff, but the command isn't quite there. I think Pepiot is a guy that had a lot of hype attached to him, but not at the level of a Bobby Miller did. So I think Ryan Pepiot, though, is a guy that you can't really even begin to have the bust conversation, because I think that the trajectory of his career would have gone from maybe a number 3 starter to maybe a lethal bullpen piece at some point. Because you're talking about Ryan Pepiot. We look at the run, when you look at how filthy that changeup is, it has the potential to be one of the most lethal changeups in baseball. It's just about establishing those other pitches and improving that command. So yeah, I absolutely wouldn't call Ryan Pepiot. He's looking a little Pepiot in his Stepio next season, and I think he's going to improve, because it's pitching for the Dodgers. It's a pressure cooker.
Yeah, definitely. I think I would definitely argue he learned a lot from his experience. I'm sure he's going to be motivated by the fact that they kind of went to Michael Grove more as the number 6 guy, kind of unofficial number 6 guy in September. And you saw that one, right, Cody?
Yes.
We're getting that one up in a bit. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Don't worry, we will read all the super chats, and if not, we're trying to get chats along the way, as long as they make sense in the cadence and not break up what's going on in the show. But Doug and I like talking about baseball. Yada yada yada. Who knows about Ryan Pepiot? No, I like Pepiot, man. Like he's gonna have a lot of motivation, and it could be, that he does, like I already said, does take the perceived slight, him being left off the postseason roster, which was going to happen because, they blew all of his options or all of his ability to be sent down in 2022. But I'm excited. I would honestly say I'm more excited for the consistency of him over Bobby Miller. I'm definitely more excited to see Bobby Miller at some point in 2023, but I think we're going to get more run out of Ryan Pepiot in some way. Those are just my thoughts there, at least.
Yeah, I think for Pepiot, like I said, we saw him last year against the Marlins, had some really nice moments. If you look at the strikeouts, 42 punch-outs to 27 walks. The FIP was at 5.42. The expected ERA was at 4.31. Sometimes I think his stuff is almost so filthy that he just has no control over when it comes out of his hand. But like I said, you have to give pitchers like Pepiot, a guy that relies on that changeup, you have to give him time to develop. And I think, like you said, next season, he knows. He understands what it's like to pitch at the big league level, and he has that in his bag. It's not an unknown for him at this point. So I absolutely think an off season where he's correcting maybe some mechanical issues, maybe the way he attacks hitters, I think that Pepe will have an opportunity to really have an impact on this team. But I also think, too, I think his ceiling is a lot higher than Ryan Pepiot's when you consider the way he uses that four-seam fastball, the sinker you mentioned, too. And I think Pepiot is a guy, though, that, I definitely wouldn't sell on my Pepiot stock.
There it is.
That's what's in.
So you want to get the chat now, or should we get it after this section of the show?
I think you guys should finish the prospect talk, and then we'll jump into it afterwards.
We're gonna get to your super chat. We appreciate it. It was Michael, right?
Yes, Michael. We'll get to your super chat right after.
To break it up, we talked a lot about pitching. I'm gonna talk on the position player side of things that you prospects and things you should be excited for, or we should be excited for in 2023. You can't not be excited about Miguel Vargas because they yeeted Justin Turner in a way for this dude. They really have faith in this dude, and a lot of us that follow this team closely believe in the mantra and the ideology of in Friedman we trust. So if Friedman wants to run with this guy, whether it's going to be at second, whether it's going to be at third, whether it's going to be seeing some time in left field, whatever it is, they say the bat plays up. We didn't get a chance to see it at the big league level, but the numbers show that it played up at AAA in 2022, and he's supposed to be a legit bat. He's working out at spring training already. I mean, at Dodger Stadium already. He was one of the guys that CT was pretty damn high on as well when he was going through his kind of run or spiel on the prospects and in the post JT era, I guess we'll call it, amongst the other folks who have since departed from this organization. But hold on, I know I have a quote somewhere. So I'm just going to buy more time by making words, but I guess I'll get into the CT part. What are your feelings on the Miggy Vargas?
So I would say following this team back in 2015, 2016, I don't think it's as high as when we were anticipating guys like Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, any of those guys. But I think Miguel Vargas, like you mentioned, this guy can rake. His hit tool is off the charts. Last season, too, I think the special moment for him was, of course, at Oracle Park, getting that first hit. Then he stole third base and no one could stop him. I kind of like that confidence level from a Miguel Vargas, but also struggled. I mean, after that hit, he didn't do very much. After those two hits, he ended up going 6 for 39, hitting 154 with that home run against the Cardinals for the rest of the season. I think a big thing for him, too, is where does he fit in on the defensive side? Does he get comfortable at second base? Do they have him at third base?
They really need him to be at third base. Like, if he can just be serviceable at third base. If he can be Muncy level, who I think graded out above average at third last year, if I'm not mistaken. The eye test didn't quite show it to me. But then again, I'm used to, I watched Adrian Beltre come up on this team, or other great Dodger third basemen like Casey Blake. Shout out my boy Blake DeWitt, the era of the Blakes. Anyways, that's where he needs to settle in. He absolutely, like, if he can hit 280 with some bomb, some pop, some power speed combo and lock down third. So, I mean, Muncy's gonna be the most likely the third baseman, but if he's able to play some second and even give Freddie a day off or two playing some first again or whatever, that's probably not the most likely scenario. I know they're getting away from as much positional versatility, but having somebody, they don't have JT anymore. You need somebody you feel comfortable with at third base. And we know CT does not like third base, and he's got to be more of the up the middle guy and some left field and all that, maybe a tad and right at best. But hyped enough for Miguel Vargas. One of the things I did like that CT had mentioned, he said these guys are hungry and they're ready to go, and I think they're going to come into spring training and show that, and that's what they can do. And you get somebody like Miguel Vargas, just get him a decent enough start, get him where he's not like 1 for 12 to start the season, and let the swag show. Because if he feels good, then he's going to play good, he's going to look good, and everything's just going to figure itself out. So there's one more person you guys should be hyped about. That guy we all should be hyped about, Miguel Vargas, because we have to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, big stars for young players is important. And I'm going to go next because we're going with the pitching side. And, of course, you guys know about this guy, and it's Gavin Stone. And he's had a meteoric rise at the minor league level. This guy has showed out. He's one of the best up-and-coming pitchers in the game. And I think the exciting thing about Gavin Stone, and we talked about Ryan Pepiot, his changeup, people say it's not just the best, one of the better changeups in minor league baseball. People say it is the best changeup in baseball, and he throws it at an over 40% clip. And I think the exciting thing about Gavin Stone is he's dominated with relative ease at the minor league level for the last 2 seasons. I mean, he's had that meteoric rise, and that changeup is as plus of a pitch as it gets. And I think he's a guy that's ready to come in. He's mature to contribute right away. And look, I mean, if you look at some of these younger guys and the hype surrounding Bobby Miller, it's almost like Bobby Miller is and Gavin Stoner is that kind of next wave to come up and say, hey, we're here. We're like almost like the Miguel Vargas is and Gavin Lux is on the pitching side. So yeah, Gavin Stone is a guy that you should absolutely be excited about. I mean, I think one role for him too is he doesn't struggle with command as much as a Bobby Miller. So that's going to play up at the big league level. So, yeah, I mean, also induces soft contact. I mean, I've watched so much Gavin Stone over the last few months in this. I wasn't expecting this early exit that, just the thing they look at with Gavin Stone is the fastball changeup. And if you look at the delivery, those minor league baseball shots, the tunneling is just so exceptional the way he does it that I just want to see him do it at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, Stoner is going to be one of those dudes. Fans are going to love him pretty damn quick. Dave Luna asked earlier, no love for Gavin Stone. Don't worry, we got love for Gavin Stone. Might even hear him on this network pretty damn soon. But at winter meetings, Dave took time to specifically mention Gavin Stone. He, in so many words, he said, remember the name Gavin Stone. That's going to be a guy who's playing a big role for us in 2023. So the team is excited about this guy. The team is throwing everything they can at developing this dude because, well, one, it's in their best interest to do that, but two, he's already pretty damn good. And for all we say about Bobby Miller, for all we say about Ryan Pepiot, we saw Michael Grove a whole bunch last year. Who was the Dodgers minor league pitcher of the year? That was Mr. Stone or Gavin Stone. So that's a good one right there. My guy, I was on the fence about my position player, my second guy here, because I have James Outman, but I also got my boy Jacob Maya. I think Jacob Maya could sneak up out of nowhere, make a little bit of an impact. He's not going to be your starting shortstop throughout the season, but if he gets a little bit of a window to play, the fans are going to be clamoring for this dude. He could be one of those guys, local boy, El Monte guy. But I'm going to go James Outman, though, to really dig in on him because this is his year to prove himself. He has all the runway in the world. I don't think we should or could or can be that reliant on a repeat of the magic that Trace Thompson had in 2022. I don't think anybody, as much as I like the dude, and I'm kind of excited about it, I don't think anybody's very high on Jason Hayward getting a whole bunch of starts in center or in right with Mookie in center, whatever it is, taking away time from somebody like Jimmy Outman. Let James Outman go up there. Yeah, he's going to strike out a whole bunch, but let him, at worst, be the platoon guy. Let him be, let him be an Andre Ethier type of dude, who apparently is my comp for everybody right now who can't hit left-handed hitters, or left-handed pitching. That's just a dude you definitely have to be excited about, James Outman, because we saw a little bit of him last year. He showed out when he was allowed, when he was able to get in there. And this, again, they're going to give him his runway. So if anything, I'm more excited to see what he does in spring training. Just let him get, if anything, not if anything again, get him some good. I want him to do really show out on defense to quell any concerns for the club there, and then just hit a little bit. That's fine for me. But anyways, those are our guys. Those are reasons you should be excited a little bit in 2023. Or else things are going to be real bad. That's just the way it goes. But you have anything to add on Outman, or shall we move on to a few more comments?
Yeah, I mean, those are both great picks. I think with James Outman, I think it was big for him to come up and have that success. It almost feels like he's like a folk hero of some sort. People just believe in James Outman on such a level. And I think,
the old John Eli effect.
It's pretty amazing. But also, too, you know how players have those nicknames for their teammates that only they call them? One of the Chris Taylor interviews, they call him Audi.
Yeah.
What Audi did. But that's a great pick. That's what's in.
Thank you.
He showed out, man, in his time. But no, I think with James Outman and Jacob Amaya, I think Jacob Amaya, the only thing is he was figuring out how to really contribute and hit more consistently at the AAA level. But the issues are, can he hit big league pitching consistently? Can he hit for power? To me, he almost profiles more as a utility guy because of that lack of power. But narrative-wise, story-wise, I'm telling you, Jacob Amaya would really skyrocket as far as fan favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, SoCal kid.
He's got some swag, too.
Yes, his show tats. His show tats are elite.
Little swaggy. One thing we've learned about this team, if you guys were around for the Justin Sellers era, man, Dodger fans love their Dodger players with some tats all up on them.
For sure.
Get him that fresh ink.